And welcome back to NinjaTrader Live. I'll be your host, Tom Schneider, CMT with NinjaTrader. And on this segment, Traders Workshop, we like to bring in our NinjaTrader ecosystem partners so that they can share with you their expertise with the NinjaTrader platform. And today we have a returning guest. We have Jody Samuels. How you doing, Jody?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. It's been a little bit of an early day for me, but that's okay. We plow through, and it helps that we have great guests like you, Jody, coming on. Jody, you're with FX Traders Edge. You provide some great technical tools, and I'm a technician, kind of by trade and by study, and I just enjoy watching your charts.
Oh, thank you. I
Uh,
enjoyed having them programmed for NinjaTrader.
Oh, well, not a lot of people might say that, but that's great. I've worked with developers and sometimes, it's not always easy, but the end result is fantastic. So,
Absolutely.
can you just give our viewers a little bit of a background about who you are and a little bit about FX Traders Edge?
Absolutely. I started trading back in 1979, actually in December, on Wall Street for JP Morgan, trading currencies. I was a currency trader. That's how I started. And that evolved. I traded for them for 14 years, and that evolved into starting my own business, FX Traders Edge. And I did things in between also, like I traded futures for 2 years, paying $2,500 a month for data in the mid 90s or late 90s. And I started FX Traders Edge, oh gosh, almost 15 years ago. And we provide education and trading tools for Forex, for futures markets, and stocks and options. So we've evolved, and our program, our flagship program, is called the Wavy Tunnel Pro. And that's a combination of Elliott Wave, Fibonacci, harmonics, using the Wavy Tunnel Pro strategy, which is really an Elliott Wave or a market cycle-based strategy, which all of our indicators convey. And the other thing, you were talking about books in the last segment. This is my book, The Trader's Pendulum. I don't know if you can see it. It might be fuzzy. So I wrote this book, and this was, at the time, this was like a compilation of my life's work. So this came out at the end of 2015, and I'm still getting emails from traders saying they love the book. It's not an Elliott Wave book. It's just sort of it's called The Trader's Pendulum, The 10 Habits of Highly Successful Traders, because I'm also a trader's coach.
Wow. Okay. So, great to know. Like you mentioned, the book club. I'll have to bring that on for a future book club episode. But you mentioned the prices of data, and what some of our users might not know is when some of the exchanges have two different prices for data, right? They have what might be considered a retail price, but then they have a professional price, and the professional price is way more than the retail price. And when you're talking about all the different exchanges you probably traded back then because we didn't have all the consolidation, that must have been a huge lift.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to detract from your work, though. Maybe we can, look at your charts and just explain the Wavy Tunnel program.
Sure. Okay, so I have the 4 stock indices on here. You can see them. And what I want to convey to you today is how these moving averages with our indicators really show us not only support and resistance, but targets for price moves. Today is a good example. I have on the 60-minute chart, because as you know, we sold off today. Now on the upper left, if you can't see it, that's the YM, and then the RTY on the upper right. These keep on moving over, I'm not sure why. And then down below is the ES, and on the right is the NQ. So from the 60-minute chart, you see that the NQ moved the most. And what's interesting is I look at the smaller time frames when I day trade. So the 2-minute, the 5-minute, the 15-minute. I actually look at all the time frames, but those are the ones that I'm focused on. And when we broke down through this area, and I can show it on the 15-minute chart, I knew that we were going to go down here. How did I know? Because that's what typically happens. It just typically happens that way, especially with the NASDAQ, not necessarily with any of the other indices. They usually fall short, and that just comes from experience. So this is called the tunnel, and we moved down right below the tunnel. That's sort of the target on a move like this. So once we break down below the wave, the 3 magenta lines are called the wave. Then the next target is the tunnel, and the NASDAQ just performs like that. So I just want to start with a little bit of education so I can show you what I mean by this, by the market map, and then we can come back to the charts. Would that be all right?
Sure. Yeah. Maybe we can switch, Kevin. We'll switch views. And, we talk about the NASDAQ being a little more volatile than the other markets, Jody. I mean, I think you've probably seen that too, just in general intraday. If you pull up a Superdome or a depth of market ladder, you'll see it's like popcorn, right? So that, it's interesting that you notice that about your indicators, right? Which ones fall short and which ones tend to make it more. And the NASDAQ is that leader.
Absolutely. Yes. So I can show you what I'm talking about. Can you see the chart?
Yep, we're here.
Yes. So the top says, let's start with the market roadmap. Can be an emotional pendulum. Absolutely. So Warren Buffett says, be fearful when others are greedy, be greedy when others are fearful. This is the market map. It's the 8-wave market cycle. The Wavy Tunnel Pro indicators, the moving averages in particular, show this, and I'm going to show you this on the next slide with the NASDAQ comparison. So we typically have a trend move up, and I don't count the waves. I let the software count the waves without writing in the wave counts. I can see where we are in the market cycle just by looking at the indicators, and I'll explain how in a minute. So once we move up to the top and we get a purple arrow, this is the time not to get greedy. Traders typically get optimistic and exuberant and load up here. They get greedy. This is the time to take profits or sell. We saw that today. Then we typically have a 3-wave correction down to the tunnel, which I showed you, a 3-wave correction down to the tunnel. At this point, market participants get fearful, panicked, and discouraged, and they tend to bail. So Warren Buffett has the contrarian view, which is we need to change the brain, and up here we need to be fearful, and down here we need to be greedy. And it's not easy to do that. Here, this is it blown up a little bit. So we need to change the brain and just take our profits and not be greedy. It's so easy to say, well, I don't want to miss the last bit of the move, or kicking ourselves when we sell over here, and then watch it go up higher, and then we're not focused on the correction that might take place. We're more focused on missing the move. I think most traders can relate to that. But let me show you what that means in terms of the Wavy Tunnel Pro setup. On the left, we have NASDAQ futures, and this isn't today, but this is just an example of how this mimics the market roadmap. So we have our trend move, and the trend is when the wave is above the tunnel. That's an uptrend. We get the purple arrow. We move down below the wave, and then we consolidate for a bit. This could be called an A. This could be called a B. And then we have the final thrust down to below the tunnel, and that would be this ABC move. And this is what I look for in my trading. This is a time to maybe get out of the market thinking we're going to come down here and maybe re-enter down here. So this is just one aspect of the tools. And now I want to go back to the charts and show you again on the charts what I just explained. So this is the roadmap. Keep this in mind when you're looking at the charts.
Yeah, I like it because Elliott Wave seems to be kind of a stickler for some rules, right? And the market doesn't always behave that way. I know Elliott Wave technicians would probably take issue with that, but I think sometimes you can have anomalies to what those rules are and still fit in with that overall concept of advanced retreat and identifying waves.
Yeah, I've always said let the Wavy Tunnel Pro strategy count the waves for you. I was never a consummate wave counter. We hired an Elliottician on the desk. I learned Elliott Wave analysis. I did a course and wrote a course in Elliott Wave analysis, how I look at it. But I use the Wavy Tunnel Pro to let me know where we are in the cycle, whether we're in a trend or in a small correction or a deep correction or a complete market reversal. Like, what else is there?
Right.
Right.
Right. There's three things, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, three things are up, down, or sideways, but yeah.
Right.
Right. So
So
getting back to this, yeah.
yeah, so looking at that structure of the market right through the waves, um, having the waves, having the tunnels, and then the let's call it the wave markers. Um, underneath you have some interesting oscillators. It looks like.
Yeah.
The one that kind of intrigues me is the one right under the chart. What is that measuring? Is it volatility of some sort?
It's measuring the strength of the move. And we
Okay,
call these the bungees.
I like
So
it.
they're bungee strands. Like when you think of a bungee, you have the weakest link and the strongest link. The yellow line is the strongest bungee. So that's the leader of the pack. The weakest are the purple and the black lines. So the way to interpret this is, now that we know what the market map is, the wave is above the tunnel, the market is moving up. When the market is moving up, the yellow is always in the upper reversal zone or slightly below it. So you can just see that the yellow bungee line is in the upper reversal zone the entire time. This is on the 60-minute chart. We could go down to the smaller time frames, but I wanted to illustrate this the entire time. And what happens in between, when we get the red dot and the opposite red dot into the wave or below the wave, we get the weaker bungee strands moving to the opposite reversal zone, and we call this the stretch away, and then they snap back to the yellow, the stronger. So when you have the stretch away in combination with a red dot or a blue dot in the trend, that gives a trader confidence to go long again, because the
Mm.
yellow is in the upper reversal zone. It hasn't moved down. It's still bullish. It's still bullish. It's still bullish the whole way. And even even over here, we had a stretch away and then a snap back, and we had a red into the wave and then a snap back. You don't really know at this point if we are going to make a new high or start to come down until you see the red candle, the red taking out, a few of these green candles, and then you know that we're going to go down at least to the wave, and then if we break down below the wave, we're going to go down to the tunnel.
So
On the 60-minute, we're still in the upper reversal zone though.
the bungees, so what you might say is when those weaker bungees in an uptrend pull away from the bungee, the yellow bungee, those are pullbacks, right? So
Exactly.
as they get extended down to the downside and they get extreme on the low end, that might be an indication to say, okay, let's consider going long or at least get out of our short position if you were doing contra trend trading. And is there a level, like, is it like RSI where we, dip below a certain level and we cross back up, or is it more just, hey, we're extreme here. We need to think about changing our idea about, getting in again.
It's similar to the RSI, sure. Um, we don't always go below the lower reversal zone. What
Hmm.
I just like to see is a stretch away. It's not a given that we're going to go below the lower reversal zone.
Got it.
The lower reversal zone, yeah, would be an extreme retracement, as you correctly called it. but it's not an extreme urge. From our indicators, it just goes into the wave or below the wave. So I just want to see the bungee line stretching away and then snapping back. That's a correction and then the resumption of the trend.
Now, if they didn't snap back, though, that yellow bungee line might be pulled down as well, assuming that the pullback extends more. And that bungee line, the yellow one, if it starts trending towards the bottom end, then we're in a downtrend. Is that correct?
So as soon as the yellow bungee goes below the 50% mark,
okay,
that's our signal that we're going lower.
Okay.
I can put up a smaller time frame of the 15-minute to show more detail, perhaps. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so look at this. So here, this is the point at which, on the smaller time frames, by the way, there's going to be a lot more noise.
Sure.
Yeah. This move here on the 15-minute down here, when we get the gray, it's usually an indication that we are going to move up again. And if we don't move up and take out this price high, then we will get an opposite gray. So this is actually a really nice signal to go short.
And you got that, this is 15 minutes. You got that gray as it happened, right? So you get the gray signal on the top a couple bars before we actually saw the breakthrough, the wave, and then the tunnel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, you look at the candlesticks and you see that there's indecision here. The bodies are small, long tails.
Yeah.
And then boom, we go.
That's really fascinating. I mean, it's hard to kind of combine everything and find something that understands market structure, right? So a lot of times we look at volume, cumulative delta of buys and sells, and so Bitcoin was looking a lot like the stock market today, and there were just buyers coming in, and I bought at the high, and it turned right around. And so this might have been telling me something different than another indicator was that might have said, hey, hold on now, right? And we turned that trade that was a long that was stopped out into a successful short trade, thanks to Mike saying, let's stop and reverse here. But we might have seen it before we even thought of going long if we had something like this. I'm not saying it would have caught that, but it's looking a lot like this market.
Okay, which contract did you put up?
I use the micro Bitcoin, the MBT.
Okay, let me try to get that up. Yeah, I mean, certainly this might have helped you. What time frame?
I think we were trading 10-minute.
Okay.
So not too different from this.
Yeah, this is actually quite nice because this is another thing that I want to point out here. Okay, this is the 15-minute. Let me just talk about this for a second, and then I'll go to the 10. You can use the awesome oscillator to show when the market is running out of steam. That's the other thing that we use. And when you have divergence in the awesome oscillator, and you do have a little bit of divergence here between this peak, these peaks, and this peak. So that's one thing. Let me go to the 10-minute. Yeah. Yeah.
So where you have, I believe where you have that, is it purple? That's a purple triangle, right?
Yes.
At the top. That's where we went long because cumulative delta was saying buyers are coming in here. It's not profit taking. They're not selling. It's that exuberance that you were talking about, right? And it's almost like seeing that Warren Buffett quote saying, when everybody's greedy, you should be fearful. I was the greedy part, not the fearful part.
Yeah, it's easy to get that way. I mean, you're like everybody gets that way,
right?
Unless you train the brain and unless you have indicators which show you a warning. Like there were a few warning signs here. The first was the divergence in the awesome oscillator. The second was all of the bungee strands moved to the top.
Mm.
And then once they exited the upper reversal zone, they all exited together. So maybe on the second candle, okay? And then you had the purple with a long tail.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you reversed it and you went short.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. That's being nimble, very nimble. And you can, and that's the thing, you can always do that. I mean, you can go with the trend until you know it ends. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't just take your loss, which is so easy to do, and you can turn it around and make the money back.
Well, that's the great thing about futures, right? Is we can do that kind of at the drop of a hat, right? We don't, other markets, it might be a little more difficult to go short right after going long. Or Bitcoin, what are you going to do with a wallet, right? You're gonna buy Bitcoin and sell it back. It just futures is the bee's knees as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the other thing on this chart that I just want to point out, we have automatic trend lines that are drawn. So right over here, what time was that? 8:40, I guess. Is that at 8:40? I can't see. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a trend line break. We have 4 different colors for trend line breaks with the pink arrow, which shows the trend line break, which is right here. And then we had a yellow trend line break over here with the yellow arrow going down.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then we had some late trend line breaks over here, the blue one. Yeah.
So those automatic trend lines, when are they drawn? Are they drawn as soon as you see like 2 consecutive, peak highs or 2 consecutive peak lows, or how are they?
That's part of our proprietary
Got it.
stuff. You know,
So
it,
that
it's
you identify support resistance levels, and then of course when they break out, that's pretty nice.
yeah, yeah. Now I see an early over here, this repainted, this gray arrow repainted. I can tell it repainted. This was originally over here. And so it did repaint when we made a new price low.
So,
So yeah,
that's what I like, about technicals is you can do that, right? If the market shows you, it shows you new information, you adapt to it. And that's, in one way a critique of the or a criticism of the Elliott Wave system, but no, I mean, you're taking in new data, right? You're taking in new behavior. Um, and so being able to redraw or repaint, that's a bonus instead of a criticism because, there's new information and you adapt to that and, okay, go on from there, right? It's like when you said, sticking with it's getting stopped out, not going short, right? You just don't get stopped out. Turning around, that's actually not a bad idea. It's kind of the same thing here. Instead of saying this is the absolute, gray triangle, we actually have more information that says, no, actually it should be here and we move it. I think that's great.
yeah. And our software doesn't take out, it doesn't redraw everything. It shows you where the original signal was,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which is nice because it repainted at that point.
Do you now just Jody, do you constantly are you working on new signals? Do you get aha moments or do you say, you know what, I could do this better? Like or is it, do you find like this is really taken in a lot of information with your experience trading and you know, this is what you found to be very helpful, or do you create other studies?
No, this
No.
is it. This is the culmination of my life's work.
Awesome.
This is it. I mean, we've improved. We know we don't improve the indicators. We have on NinjaTrader, we have market analyzers that we've added to it. So
Yep.
we have a market analyzer which finds the purple and the purple and the gray arrows.
Yep.
Um, we have an analyzer which shows the breakout 4 trade, which is this trade here.
Mm-hmm.
When we have the deep correction. So we've expanded it in that sense. We actually did come up with a new program. Actually, we have a program. It's a course for price action to understand retracements from Wyckoff theory, actually. So we do have a course which combines that, and we have an indicator for that, but not on NinjaTrader yet, maybe, which also uses the semaphores. And that's a new program that we've developed. One of my colleagues developed it.
Yeah, I think it's the application of your life's work, right? How can you apply it? Like you said, market analyzers, what kind of signals are you looking for? Market analyzer can be really powerful. Right now it's kind of out of the box. It's data, right? It's yesterday's high, yesterday's low, today's high, today's low, whatever it is. But once you put your work into the market analyzer, that's where I think, that's where there can be a lot done with it, right?
Absolutely. And you can also, we can also set alerts, pop-ups, and sound with NinjaTrader. We've instituted that so that when we get any one of these dots or arrows, we can program for that. We hear it and we can go back to our computer and take a look. Great.
That's awesome. Do you record your voice or is it somebody else's voice?
Oh, not my voice. I didn't know you could do that.
I think you could just make a wave file, right? You could put your own voice on it. But I'm sure it's it's awesome. Jody, we've run out of time though.
Okay.
What?
Well, this has been great.
Well, it's fascinating talking to you. Where can people find you if they want to learn more?
Learn more at wavytunnelpro.com/NinjaTrader.
Oh.
So we have all of the NinjaTrader programs on that page, starting with these indicators, which I still have the promotion, 1 penny for 1 month for the first month. Okay.
Can't get better than that.
And then it's $99 a month for all of this.
Awesome.
And we also meet weekly to discuss setups.
Okay, great. Everybody knows where to go now. wavytunnelpro.com.
Yes.
/NinjaTrader.
Awesome. NinjaTrader. And you can email me at Jody, Jody, at fxtradersedge.com.
Awesome. Jody, thanks so much for coming on. We'll do this again. But in the meantime, I want to, wish you some good trading. And again, thanks for your time coming on our live stream.
Thank you so much, Tom. Bye, everybody.
The following presentation is for educational purposes only. All the symbols, trading ideas, and market commentary are for educational and demonstrational purposes only and are not recommendations or trading advice. Live sample trading occurs in a simulated environment. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. All the information and content presented is provided by NinjaTrader LLC, and the opinions expressed by all third-party guests are their own and are not necessarily those of NinjaTrader LLC. Trading futures involves substantial risk and may not be suitable for everyone, and trading futures can result in losses greater than the initial required margin. Traders should only trade futures with risk capital. Risk capital is money that you can afford to lose without jeopardizing your financial security or current lifestyle. You can find additional disclosure information on the NinjaTrader website.